Blessings, beloveds. Welcome back again. So this will be part 2 of the lunar eclipse that's happening on the 31st of January this year. Now, where I left off, I was talking about Venus and Juno in Aquarius being conjunct the Sun and conjunct the South Node of this particular eclipse. So I think I left off beginning to talk about the importance of more feminine energy coming through Venus and through Juno, who's the goddess of marriage essentially. And when I say marriage, I don't necessarily mean traditional marriage, although that can be one component or one aspect. But we're talking about the principle of commitment, period, wherever that commitment may be. Essentially, though, it is seen through some kind of partnerships, so commitments in partnerships. So I think, you know, Venus and Juno being conjunct the South Node in this eclipse, what we're kind of looking at here is, well, you know, relationships, obviously. And, you know, we could also throw in the world of the material world. You know, Venus rules the material world as well, so our values and so forth, and, you know, very simply money. But with Venus and Jupiter there, Venus and Juno, the wife of Jupiter, there is a message there, I think, that is suggesting that we must really look at the kind of commitments that we have in place at the moment, and, you know, how these commitments are actually really serving our life path, our own personal path, and on a greater level, how they are serving humanity at large, really, because these Venus, Juno, and South Node and Sun, they're all in the sign of Aquarius, so we must bring in that humanitarian quality, which is all about Aquarius. So sorry, I'm just going to bring the chart back up, just so that I can see it as I'm talking. So, yeah, the components of the world of relationships and our commitments the light is shining on these this aspect of life, and, you know, the energy around that, and the energy that we've created around that, and how that is serving us individually and the world at large, really needs to be looked at the moment with this lunar eclipse energy coming up. Now, the lunar eclipse is on the 31st of August, but that doesn't mean we wait until that day to start contemplating these ideas or connecting to them and seeing how they are applicable in our own lives. You know, the energy of the eclipse it's starting. It's already started. It's, you know, it's like you've put something in the oven, and you know, it's starting to warm up and to, you know, cook and so forth. So it's a process. It's unfolding. The energy is unfolding. It doesn't just happen over the course of the one day, the actual date of the eclipse. We know the date of the eclipse, and that's when it's actually happening in the sky, in terms of what we're going to see. But how that energy is working internally within us and collectively on the planet, that's been going on for a while. In fact, it's been going on since last year, because Aquarius and Leo has been the axis of archetypal energies that we are all being asked to work with, because the nodes being in the signs of Leo and Aquarius, first of all, is a collective experience, and second of all, it's a personalized experience when we look at where those two signs are in our own birth chart. We all have Leo and Aquarius in our birth chart, somewhere in our chart. For some of us, it's much more personal. Either we are a Leo or an Aquarius, or we have personal planets in those signs, or we have the nodes in those signs, etc. I actually have the nodes in Aquarius and Leo, and this particular full moon eclipse actually hits my actual natal moon, because I have my moon conjunct my north node in my first house. So this eclipse is going to be in my first house, conjunct my moon and my natal north node. So, you know, you obviously need to look at where this eclipse lands in your chart in relation to the signs of Aquarius and Leo. And furthermore, you would also be looking at the other fixed signs, because the signs that are square Aquarius and Leo are Taurus and Scorpio. So, you know, you may have some significant points in the signs of Scorpio and Taurus, such as personal planets, sun or moon, or nodes, you know, whatever the case. So it will be good for you to see, you know, whether this particular full moon eclipse on the 31st of January is actually squaring, you know, something in Scorpio or Taurus in your own birth chart, and naturally you would read it accordingly. So the fixed signs, which is the fixed cross, we call it astrologically, you know, a fixed cross in the chart, if you've got 4 planets creating a fixed cross in your chart, that's a really powerful combination of planetary energies that's operating in a very, very specific and distinct way through your birth chart, naturally through the houses that the fixed cross actually lands in. Yeah, so the fixed cross is very, very powerful. And it's a fixed cross because we're talking about fixed signs. Aquarius is fixed, Leo is fixed, Scorpio is fixed, and Taurus is fixed. So there's something very powerful about that fixed energy. On a positive level, it can stand with or withstand anything that's happening that it needs to actually work through and process through. It's not going to run away from things. It's going to stay with things until it actually works through them quite deeply. That's one of the most beneficial components of the fixed energies. And of course, the opposite, because there's always an opposite, isn't there? You know, there's always a flip side to the coin, is the, sometimes the resistance of letting go and actually moving on, you know, moving in and moving on into, you know, the next part of your journey in your life as it's unfolding. It's that wanting to hang on to things. You know, fixed signs stay with things. You know, they stay and stay and stay. And sometimes, obviously, that's really essential and absolutely needed, because it enables us to work through things, thoroughly and deeply and effectively on a positive level, of course. But yeah, if we struggle to let go and move on from things, well, that's equally, debilitating and not conducive to our growth path and our evolutionary path, our soul's evolutionary path. Another thing that's happening with this full moon is the moon is quincunx Neptune. Now, traditionally, you know, a quincunx aspect is, it's not an easy aspect, you know, well, quincunx brings up the energy of Virgo and Scorpio. That's what it does. Hi, Coco. And a quincunx forms a relationship, one planet to the other, the relationship that they have, the angle, the distance between them, which is called quincunx, which is 150 degrees in distance, is always going to be signs that don't necessarily blend very well together, and qualities that don't necessarily blend very well together. So in the example of the full moon on the 31st of January, we have the moon in Leo, and we all know that Neptune is in Pisces. So Leo is a fire fixed sign, masculine, and Pisces is a water mutable feminine sign. So really, really very different energies. But whilst there is an inherent challenge, it's not an obvious one. It's not quincunxes are not an overt type of energy. They're not dynamic like a square aspect or polarizing like an opposition. Quincunxes work very much behind the scenes, internally, and mostly fairly unconscious for a lot of us. And the way we become conscious of them, hi Coco, the way we become conscious of them is that what usually happens is an event will take place. Something will happen in our life which will appear like a fated type of event, and it'll cause us to actually make the necessary adjustment in our life. And that's one of the key words for quincunxes. They actually require us to make an adjustment and change something essentially. And what I mean when we're talking about an adjustment or changing something, we're essentially at the heart of that is something that is not conscious and not working and not operating. So we need to make adjustments accordingly to enable the energy of the two planets that are in the quincunx to possibly have some resolution and work effectively for us. Now, what does this mean for the full moon on the 31st? I think because we're talking about Neptune, which is the divine love, the unconditional divine love, and the moon, which is the divine feminine, and in the sign of Leo, the heart energy, and Neptune ruling Pisces in the sign of Pisces, being that divine unconditional love, connecting with the moon and Leo in the heart energy. Well, it's pretty obvious what it's saying, isn't it? To me it is. So I'll tell you what I think. I think it's actually suggesting that there's another message here, really important, powerful message, that we need to actually activate our heart energy. We need to activate that heart solar energy and activate it so that it is fully, connected with that divine love, so that we can actually act and speak through that as we breathe in every single day of our lives. We all have access to activating these energies, but we need to step into a space and consciously do that, perform acts that invoke that, Hi Coco. Sorry guys, this is one of my favorite crystals. So it's clear quartz with rose quartz on the top, and this is fully activated and charged. I've done a lot of work on this in the last week. That's why it's sitting here, and that's why she's attracted to it. She knows what's good. So yeah, the quincunx between the moon and Neptune during this full moon is again an additional message asking us to open our heart, activate that heart center energy so that we can bring more of that divine love through. And when you think about the description of the quincunx, which is suggesting that we need to make adjustments and necessary adjustments for the energies to flow better, well, in the case of this example, it's making adjustments and changes to what our heart is disconnected from, So that's a very personal experience. So it's it's different for you, and it's different for me, and different for everybody else. So I'm just giving you this message so that you can take it and reflect on it and put it into your heart space and notice and connect with and bring up and see what is it that you need to adjust in your own life that can actually enable you to activate more divine love in your life, so that you are operating from the heart center 24/7, even while you're sleeping, and not overtaken by the Mercury lower mind, mental, conceptual, crazy monkey mind. So that's how I read the Neptune quincunx, the full moon eclipse. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say really for this particular eclipse. So, you know, look, the divine feminine and masculine is obviously always represented when we're talking about the sun and the moon anyway. But, you know, I think it's really emphasized in this particular full moon eclipse, with the moon being in Leo, which is a masculine sign, and it rules the heart. And we have, you know, Venus and Juno, which is more divine feminine energy as well, coming through. And we have Aquarius, you know, the sun in Aquarius, which is another masculine energy. So there's a blend, a very strong, specific and distinctive blend of the divine feminine and masculine, starting from our own heart space, our own heart chakra, and how we can clear and clean that up, so that we can draw more in of the divine unconditional love, so that we can be that. You know, we need to be this divine unconditional love in order for us to see it out there around us. You know, this message keeps coming up. It keeps coming up quite a lot. And, you know, it also comes up, just a couple more points, from now until I think it's March this year. Yeah, from now until March, all the planets are moving direct in motion. So there's no planets moving in their apparent retrograde backward motion. This is a really, really, really powerful time, because the energies are open and they're flowing in this apparent forward movement. In other words, enabling us to activate and access more of that, you know, higher frequency, high vibrating energy, which is all about divine oneness and light, in order for us to heal ourselves and to heal each other and to heal the planet. Because look at the mess on the planet, look at the chaos and the disaster that has been created on so many different levels, so many, we all know, we all know, I don't need to unpack that. So, you know, this the movement of the energy at the moment, with all the planets moving forward, is kind of like it's like looking ahead and actually having a beautiful flow of clarity and vision, because things are open. You know, the pathways are open, the energies are open, the activations are there and open, the potential is there for us to reach in, connect, ground ourselves, and come and operate and emerge from that space on a daily level. And if we do that, then we can see, you know, obviously more and more changes on the earth plane that we absolutely need to see. But as I said in my first video, so much of this is already happening and was hugely activated since 2012, where there was a lot of misinterpretations of you know, the esoteric messages and the spiritual messages. Some had the view that, you know, the world is going to end and it's going to be, you know, disaster and so forth. That was a misinterpretation of what was really happening. There was an incredibly intense awakening and opening of energies being activated during that time, of which many, many people have benefited, many. And everyone has benefited, actually, but many are still yet to activate this energy. And this is what we all need to do in order to actually truly create the change that we truly, on a heart, deep soul level, we all want to see and we all long for. And we long for this because we all have Pisces energy in us. We may not be a Pisces, but we all have Pisces in our chart. We have every single sign contained within us. But Pisces is that longing, you know, for that deep divine union of love that connects us all, where there is true peace, true unconditional love and harmony. So I think all these energies that we're actually seeing and that we've been working with, the Leo Aquarius is enabling us to activate that heart center energy, to get more in touch and connected with that, and actually, you know, work it out in a humanitarian scope so that we can reach that higher divine union and love that, you know, every single human being in truth and at their core level are exactly that, and certainly long for it. And the longing comes from the apparent separation and disconnection. But anyway, these energies with the solar eclipses and lunar eclipses are really enabling us to tap into this and bring it forth and continue on our activation ascension path, which is all about the heart, the heart opening up. There is nothing more powerful than, the heart, unconditional love, and divine union collectively. So I think I'll leave it there. Oh no, there was just one other thing I just wanted to mention as well, which is kind of a separate issue, but really it's not. It's just more emphasis on the intensity of the collective transformation, soul evolution individually, and the soul of the collective, that has been going through a smashing of breaking down of old systems, which is all related to Pluto, thank God, who entered the sign of Capricorn in 2008. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that, all the planets are moving forward in motion, so there's a hugely powerful energy force that is there for all of us to really super connect to and activate and vibrate much higher, because the energies are moving forward, including Pluto, which is, Pluto is the soul of the soul of the soul of the soul. It's the soul force and energy. So Pluto changes signs in 2024, I think. You just double check. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is. That's what I noted. I don't usually make an error. No, that's correct. Yes, 2024, Pluto finally leaves Capricorn. So it's been a 16-year period of a crashing down and deconstruction of the Capricornian earthly systems that have needed to be broken down and transformed in order for people to be freed, essentially. And this is going to be absolutely phenomenal and incredible when Pluto gets into Aquarius, but I'll leave that for another video. I have some ideas and feelings about what that's going to be, but I need to reflect on that a bit more, because we haven't, in our life, we haven't experienced Pluto in Aquarius. So it's going to be an amazing time, I think. Alright guys, I'm going to leave it there for today. I hope these two videos are useful for you. Now remember, with this full moon eclipse, just have a look at where it lands in your chart. Have a look at where Scorpio and Taurus are in your chart as well, because this lunar eclipse could be squaring something in your chart. Squares sometimes don't seem to be as telling actively, but with regards to full moon eclipses or solar eclipses, but certainly the conjunctions and oppositions are the two aspects that seem to illuminate and highlight and polarize energies as well, and bring up quite a bit. So either way, I hope this full moon energy and the energy leading up to it, and everything that started from last year for you, is unfolding in the way that's true and authentic for you. Leo, and the heart, we're talking about authentic heart energy as well, So if we want to live an authentic life, we must come from a place of an authentic heart, right? I think that goes without saying. So anyway, happy full moon, lunar, total lunar eclipse, blood moon. which, yeah, we're all feeling, working towards at the moment. And I'll do another video on the solar eclipses coming up on the 15th of February, and yeah, just shed some light on that. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Love you all. Many blessings. Namaste. Bye for now.